Whilst it's very tempting to do my own version of Sharon's scream to start this video, I don't, one, want to ruin my voice already, and two, blow out your eardrums. So let's just talk about Silent Hill from 2006, directed by Christophe Gans and written by Roger Avery. It stars Radha Mitchell, Sean Bean, Laurie Holden, Deborah Cara Unger, Alice Krieger, Kim Coates, Jodel Furland. Special hat tip to Roberto Campanella. There's so many people here giving their all. And if I remember correctly, at the time that it was released, it wasn't that well received. Fans of the game were like, why did you change all this? People who had no knowledge of the games were perhaps a bit indifferent towards it. And yeah, at the time I perhaps didn't think it was as good as I do now, but a lot of fans I think have now turned around on it. They've come to an understanding of what it was trying to do and appreciated it. Certainly after the sequel, which I'm probably going to talk about in a few weeks, a lot of people probably thought this was much better by that comparison. But the fact that Christophe Gans was so passionate about this project, he wanted this film to get made. He pestered Konami, there is no other word for it. He was constantly sending them videos about ideas he had, script ideas, all this kind of stuff, mock-ups of things. He was doing everything possible to get the rights to make this film, which shows he's a massive fan. Now, some people might go, so why did he put things that related to James's issues around sexuality with Maria in a film that's got nothing to do with that story? This is Silent Hill 1 storyline, but with Silent Hill 2 creatures, and maybe it's because they are iconic. The sexy nurses play very well compared to the puppet nurses, and Pyramid Head is a very striking image. The fact that the redesign's done for this to make it obviously more feasible for someone to use that suit, as it were, the headpiece, etc., that then got translated into the game because that image worked. That's the thing, a lot of stuff from this actually started to inform the games, and okay, those were some of the lesser liked games like Homecoming Origins, etc. But we have the transition to the other world. That's never been done like that in a game prior. But after this, that started to happen. The fact that there's a lot here that still works as a Silent Hill film. This idea of, weird time and stuff, and gods and monsters, fighting for souls. I mean, they did change that aspect. It's not a cult, around some weird creature. It's a sort of hardcore Christian thing. Again, it makes it more accessible to people who don't understand the games have this fictional religious aspect. Everyone understands Christian extremists. That's known. So that's very easy to play. The fact that they separated out Dahlia so they could have Christabella, as played by Alice Krieger, who hated the character. She thought she was super evil and didn't really enjoy that aspect, but she understood that it was useful to the plot. She played the role to the best of her ability, and it's an actor I really love in everything I've seen her in, pretty much. There's so much here that there's care and attention, and like I say, a love for the games and the stories they tell. Whilst it's not a perfect one-to-one for the game, that's probably less good as well, because otherwise just play the game. If a film literally just follows the plot beat for beat, there is no point now. It's like when I was saying about the remakes. If it's literally just beat for beat and there is nothing new or nothing that will change because of this different lens, why bother? And so they made a game work for a film, and I think it does work. Certainly, like I say, better than the sequel. I do defend this because I understand the passion behind it, and the fact that the version we see is pretty much the version that was made. There isn't like a director's cut out there. There wasn't tons of stuff that the studio were like, you can't put that in. It was very much the film that was intended is pretty much what we got. There's a few changes, of course, because that will always happen. But I do appreciate this film. I didn't feel I wasted like the 2 hours of my life watching it. I know there were issues on set because how Radha Mitchell works as an actor is different to Laurie Holden. There was a lot of clash there. I know Laurie Holden cried because she had to cut her hair. But the fact that she was willing to do that says that there was an intent here to make the best they could. But I'll end on a fun little real-world fact here, because in the game, in the first game, it is actually stated it's snow. It's not ash or anything like that. The fog was there literally because of rendering distance. It was too much processing power to do the whole town. So how do we create this artificial block to that, so we don't have to render so much at once? There you go, a massive fog and snow. Done. But obviously in this film they take it to that there's a burning underground, all that kind of stuff, which they lifted from the Pennsylvania town of Centralia. And I like that addition to this. I think that's a fun way of doing it. Yes, it does mean it's ash rather than snow, but again, that's why this stands on its own. But I do really appreciate this film for bringing that thing, because I didn't really know about Centralia. I looked into it. It's fascinating. And the thing I will finish on is when they're in the hotel and the room that they're looking for, the sacrifice room, that's 111. From what I've seen, that's apparently the number of casualties from Centralia. So that's a lot of care and attention. Like I say, I defend this film because I understand what they were trying to do. They maybe didn't succeed perfectly, but they did their damnedest, and I respect it. Now, like I say, in a couple of weeks or so, I'm going to talk about the sequel, and I'm probably going to be less favourable. I've got something hopefully for next week, but it's not confirmed yet, so we'll see. But I hope you'll join me for all of that, and with me starting uni at the end of the month, that's going to be fun. But until next time, as always, thank you for watching, and take care.